Hello, my name is Asher Nelson. I'm a junior at Timberland High School, and I'm looking forward to going to the field of computer science, specializing in software development and AI engineering.
Awesome.
My name is Riley. I'm a senior at Timberland High School, and I look forward to going into software development.
My name is Brendan Mannion. I'm a junior at Princeton High School, and I'm looking forward to going to graphic design and animation.
Okay, cool.
My name is Nathaniel Blake Ranson. I am a senior at Fort Walton South High School. I am particularly interested in audio production, but also chemical forensics, specializing in toxicology.
Wow, that's really interesting. Cool.
My name is Allison Craven. I'm a junior at Liberty High School, and I'm interested in graphic design and social media marketing.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, a lot of what I do, let me get this over here. A lot of what I do is the day-to-day stuff, the basics that people need to run their business. End user problems, network problems, phone problems, problems with vendors like Microsoft and all the big ones. So this never came on. Oh wait, it might be me.
You have to choose the right HDMI to.
Yeah, I get to say this in both streams. Nothing worse than a technology person having technology issues, right?
There we go. To share this, sir.
Okay.
You want to say?
And I'm drinking a soda while I present, which is, really not a great idea, but that's so many questions the first string asks, so I'm hoping to engage you guys as much as well, even though I don't do necessarily what you're interested in. I've been in the industry for a very, very long time.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you. I don't know why I even closed down the presentation earlier. I shut everything down, unplugged everything, bagged it all up. I was ready to go. All right. Yes, and just like a mechanic's car is like the worst run car, my computer is the slowest because I never pay attention to it. One more time. Thank you. So, as you said, Working Technology, that's my company. I am Melinda Thompson. I'm the founder and CEO of my amazing company, strand. I've been in business for myself for almost 10 years now, so I think I'm doing something right. So back when I was born, in the good old days, as they say, the technology that was being introduced was Intel's 8008 processor, the first ARPANET, which was like the first wide area network, and the compact disc. All of those things were just being developed when I was being born. Oh yeah, can't forget about Atari, the very first Pong game. Came out a couple months after I was born. By the time I graduated high school, we were introduced to HTML, which is the foundation for our World Wide Web as we know it today. And when's the last time you ever actually heard someone call it that nowadays, the World Wide Web? Microsoft released Windows 3.0, which was a major transformation at the time, and dial-up internet access. We were online. I know, right? After high school, I went into the Marine Corps and went through 13 weeks of brutal yet enjoyable boot camp training in Parris Island, South Carolina. And this is the type of computer equipment that we worked on at that time. I was trained for a year and a half in Millington, Tennessee on how to fix transmitters and receivers for air traffic control equipment. So there really isn't a place for that when you come back out of the military. And transitioning out of the military is not easy. But by that time, we were introduced to Bluetooth, and IBM introduced the first smartphones, and people started doing online banking and shopping as well. So we were really making progress then. Jump forward to my civilian career. Like I said, transitioning out of the military isn't easy, and I was young. I didn't really know if that's what I wanted to do, so I was a receptionist. I worked for Eastman Kodak as a receptionist, and my manager saw that I had all this training. He's like, "What are you doing? You want to go to a computer class?" So, sure, why not? They sent me up to Rochester, New York for a 2-week class where they opened up a computer, pointed to each of the components, and told me what they did. And that was the beginning of my IT career. So from there, I got a lot of on-the-job training, just a lot of, under fire, you gotta fix it, you're the only one type stuff. And it was at McDonnell Douglas, so no pressure, right? It was actually a really cool first job opportunity. And then after that, I started moving around to contractors that, supplied people who outsourced IT. And I made advances quickly in my salary. I went from like $15 an hour to 25 in like a year. So that was great for a while, but I was starting to get ready I wanted to settle down somewhere, right? I wanted to find that company that was gonna be the one that deserved to have me. And I worked at Anheuser-Busch, Southwestern Bell, Ameren UE. I worked at a large retailer that used to have stores downtown. And Ameren UE actually ended up hiring me. So that was pretty cool because they were paying for my college and everything. So I was eager, I was young, I was willing to work. They said, "Do you want to do this project? And I kept saying yes, yes, yes. I got burned out. I quit and went and sold used cars for a year. That was about the time the car market crashed around 2007. And so it was time to go back in IT. And I had to go all the way back to the bottom, start over at level 1, service tech, break fix. Exactly what I learned in those 2 weeks. But over the next 7 years at the same company, I climbed up the ladder, and eventually I was a service manager, and I had 5 to 6 technicians at any given time working for me. And I was also the primary technician at ACF Industries. They're a train company. Right about that time is when they found that shale oil up north, so they got an order for 5,000 rail cars. I took the IT infrastructure from a skeleton crew of 17 people at their plant on the West Coast up to over 350 employees now running around buzzing, and things are moving and going with like 0 information, no passwords. I didn't know where that wire went, right? So I had to do a lot of figuring out. I had to be resourceful to get this stuff up and going. And it's really one of the things I'm most proud of in my career. It was a great opportunity that I kind of just fell onto. So on to bigger and better things. My dog got sick. I'm one of those people that I never miss work. I'm there all the time, you can count on me, but my dog got sick and I missed like 3 days of work. I texted the owner of the company and told him I wasn't coming in. He just failed to tell everybody else. So when I came back to work, they didn't ask me how I was doing, they didn't ask me if my dog was okay. And I really felt like, wow, if I'm not here making money for them, they really could care less about me. And that's how I started my own company. I'm like, well, I'll do it for myself, right? I'm putting all this effort in. Why not keep all the profits? I have like 0 overhead. I work out of my home. I have a computer, and that's my expense. I buy one new one every couple years, except for this one. I love this one. So how do I do that? I am primarily for SMB clients in the Midwest region, although I have had clients, like I said, on the West Coast, and some with offices in Florida and other areas south of here. But most of them are actually close to the St. Charles area. And I partner with leading technology companies like Microsoft and primary hardware vendors as an individual. I have no employees, it's just me. And so I deliver cost-effective design, implementation, maintenance, and support of critical business systems. So the way I do that is I get an understanding of what the company's goals are, and I align them with technology. Instead of trying to get them to conform to technology that's out there and available, we figure out their business needs first, and then they may already have the technology or the software or the hardware or whatever it is. They may just be underutilizing it. So that's how I'm able to be cost effective. And that's how I also build long-term relationships with them, because right off the bat, they know that I have their bottom line in mind. And that's important especially for small business owners. So to do that, I use these values. First, like I said, I listen to what they say, and I learn. I have to have an understanding of their business processes to know what's going to be the right fit for them. Then I educate them. I want my clients to know how to manage and access their admin settings for the software and things that I'm setting up for them. If I fall off the face of the earth tomorrow, I don't want them to be stranded and not have any idea how to add a new user or change a password. I put them in the driver's seat, and a lot of IT companies don't do that. They kind of hold clients hostage because, you know, an IT person has access to everything. You want to go tell them that you don't want to use them anymore, it could go bad, and I've seen it go bad several times over my career. Some people can be really malicious, so I make sure from the beginning that that is in their hands, right? If they don't want to use me anymore, that's their choice, but that doesn't happen because of the kind of service I provide. So then once I have that and I've taught them how to utilize, you know, or how to access and maintain their own systems, and those systems, I advise them, I'm not inclined to do one specific vendor. After I assess their goals, I will make sure I find the right solution each time. I'm not using Microsoft every time. Sometimes I use Google. It just depends on the business and their objectives. So, like for example, nonprofits, they could use either one. They both get grants. What may work for one set of employees may not work for another. It just really depends. But once you take the time to get to know your client, and you'll be able to make those decisions and stand behind them, and the clients are going to end up happy. So then that leads to the development, design, and implementation of their primary business systems. And we're not doing break fix. They're not calling me because they got a system that's down. That rarely happens. We're being proactive. We're doing things to swap out older equipment and plan for it. Because the one thing that small business owners don't have is a budget for IT. Like, it's really hard to get them to spend money on that kind of stuff. So, any questions? So, I've got a few certifications over the years. This is just the ones that would fit on the screen. I am a constant seeker of knowledge in every way. I am just now finishing my degree at Lindenwood, getting my business, my bachelor's degree in business administration. I don't need it, but I started it all those years ago. I just want to finish it, so yeah.
I'm considering Lindenwood. How do you like it there?
It's great. The only issue I've had with them is I don't, as an online only student, I don't go on campus. So I kind of feel it's difficult sometimes to get in touch with my advisor. I have to reach out to him a couple times, but I'm sure that's probably not the way it is if you go on campus, but it's a great school. I love the curriculum, I love the professors, everything else is great. I've just struggled to get in touch with people when I need to sometimes. So I'm graduating next August finally, and I finally picked my emphasis, and it's in nonprofit administration. I'm sure you guys are familiar with a lot of the ones up there. The one that I would say has been most important in my career is what I got from the Marine Corps. I learned a lot of really good skills that they don't teach you in high school, and you will eventually learn them in life, but probably the hard way. So the Marine Corps just puts you together and makes you this, you've got this thing in you that you just get up and you just keep going and you get the job done no matter what. And it's great. I attribute that both to my mom and a little bit to the Marine Corps. No, Dell, Lenovo. The other thing that I do is make sure that I maintain HIPAA compliance, because I do have clients in the healthcare industry and financial services as well. So I try and limit my liability when I work with those clients. If I don't have to have access to their client information systems, I don't. I stop at where it's working on your computer, now you log in. I'm not going any further. But in some situations, they need me to take on more of a role than that. Like I work with 2 methadone clinics. One, I have access to their dosing software, the other I don't. And the only reason I do at one is because she just doesn't have anybody that has the time to do it. So, CompTIA, the A+ certification, I am grandfathered in. I took that test almost 30 years ago, so I don't have to retake it every couple of years. But that's a good one to have in no matter what area of IT you're going into. They're very well respected. They're vendor neutral. A lot of companies seek them out for advice and information about the information technology industry. So that's a good one. The A+ itself is just a real basic, do you know hardware and software, just how to talk about it, do you understand the concepts of it, and it's just a good one to get under your belt. Now, you do have to renew it now every couple years, but they also have ones for security, they have one for cloud, and actually when I started my company, I don't know why I don't have that logo up there, but I went after the Managed Services Trust Mark, which is a stringent program to go through that, to obtain that. So me alone, just little old me, within the first 6 months of opening my company, I went through the entire process. I wrote out my standard operating procedures. I had everything in line as if I was a large company running on major scale. So I was really proud to get that accomplished right away. So we talked a little bit about partners that I have. Microsoft, I am still a silver. I'm almost letting it expire now though, because they've changed the way, and this is something you have to watch out for if you partner with companies for your business. They are changing the way that they have relationships with smaller companies like me. They're like, I would never have enough clients on my own to qualify to get the silver, because first of all, it requires 2 people taking a test. So right there, I'm out. But other than that, there's dollar amounts that you have to meet as far as sales go, and I'm nowhere near that. So I am still a partner, just not at the silver level. GoDaddy has a really great reseller program. They allow me to brand their products as mine. So I have a website, it's products.working-technology.com, where I sell things that are the same stuff you can buy from GoDaddy, a domain name, hosting, SSL, but it's under my brand. And I make between 16 to 27% commission off of every sale, which is great because that's kind of like a set it and forget it kind of thing, right? Like once somebody sets up their website, they're usually not moving it around to a bunch of different domain registrars. They usually leave it there, and that's gonna be constant revenue I get until they don't exist anymore. Similar with Microsoft, like once they have Microsoft Exchange, they're probably not gonna go and switch to Google. Maybe they will. I'm actually not partnered with Google, but I have done several migrations for them. But you know, those are things that those are major undertakings for a company to change. It's just gonna be revenue that just kind of comes in all the time for me. Spectrum, I have access to a portal where I can actually submit an order for fiber for a client if they have a new office. You know, really what all of these have in common is my direct line to help my client when they have an issue. The second thing to that is, again, if I were to fall off the face of the earth, my client could contact them directly to continue to receive support for everything that I've set up for them. I'm never gonna leave my client hanging. And that's important because when you talk about that, that means something to the customer, because they may know what it's like to be locked out of a system, or that one person that was the admin left and nobody knows how to use it, right? We don't want to set them up to be in that situation. So, any questions about that? Some of the specific things that I do for my clients, managed device security, which means I install, right now I'm using WebRoot, and I have an admin console that reports to me all of the issues if something's quarantined and can't be removed from the machine, or if the machine's not getting updates or anything like that. I can be proactive about it, whereas their users are probably clicking the message off the screen so they can get back to what they were doing, right? That's part of the remote monitoring and maintenance. I do network analysis and design. It's been a while since I've done the analysis part because most of the networks now that I work with are in pretty good shape. I have typically 30 to 35 clients at any given time. And so the design part comes into play. I've had 2 situations where we've expanded their building. So I got to work with the contractors to tell them where all the ports go and everything like that. Business continuity and disaster recovery planning, I really got into that because of the healthcare and financial services groups. They have to have it. It's part of their regulations. If they don't, they can get fined. You know, imagine you've got a retirement account and there's a disaster and your company can't get you back in connection with your money. That's a problem. So, and that's actually one of the things I enjoy most. I like planning and policies and like just standard operating procedures type stuff. I do the on-site end user support. Most of the stuff I can do from my computer at home, but some people like to see my bright shining face, so I, go in from time to time. Right now I'm going to one of the methadone clinics twice a week, because when I took them over last August, their IT person was not really an IT person. He was a counselor manager who kind of fell into the role of, I'm your local IT guy. So that all of their systems were outdated, which is a problem because they're under HIPAA. So we've been working to upgrade their security cameras and their computer systems and their software. And they're a nonprofit, so they really didn't have funding. So I worked with the executive director to help find some grants and apply for some grants to receive some funding. So vendor management, like I said, I'm the interface for them. I'm not blocking them from them. I'm just helping them have a relationship. Talked about that. Data backup and recovery. When I started in this industry, we didn't have the cloud. So all backups were local. So if your business burned down, yeah, you got a backup, that's great, but it probably burned down too. So, we've come a long way in a lot of ways. Hosted email is my thing. Like I can migrate a company. I did a company migration of 80 users that were in 4 different locations by myself, and no one lost a single email, or did they have any time they could not access an active inbox that was getting new messages. I'm pretty proud of that, because that company outgrew me and replaced me with 5 people that were dedicated to support that same group that I was just working with. So I let them go because I didn't want to grow my business. I'm happy just being me. I don't have to write anybody's paycheck. I can, my clients and I have a great relationship, so I've kind of found my niche, and that's what I want to talk about next. So we're just gonna let you guys watch this cute little video for a minute. Oh,